All right, we're back with the ongoing Football Manager 16 guide. The last time that we were here, we were having a look at tactics. We'd set up our primary tactic, our 4-3-2-1 controlling, but we hadn't done one of the more important parts of the tactic creation. We haven't set up team instructions. Within team instructions, we have the the mentality setting, of course, which we set up last time to be control, but we've got a lot more options. Team shape is one. Flexible is one I'll always use when I've got a team that's good in the league. When I think my players are capable of working a little bit outside of their role, they may be expected to do something defensive on the fly or something attacking on the fly. And I think we've got the kind of team that we can expect to handle a bit of flexibility. Um, Almost tempted to set it to fluid, to be honest. I might do that. We've got a nice fluid attack. The team will be encouraged to play more flowing football. I think that's a good idea. More creative freedom, very good. Our tempo I'm going to set to low because I want us to control the ball, go about our business in a patient and considered manner. We're not going to take a breather. That's something that you'd use. You can set that on and off during a game. I don't tend to use it too often, except when I want my team to think about every action they make. Very much in a defensive situation primarily. Time wasting isn't something that we do in a controlling formation. If we were to set our formation as defensive, then wasting time would become an option. But we don't want to waste time. We want to control the game, work the ball forward, and look to create the opposition some trouble. With the width, we we don't want to be particularly wide. We'd prefer our attacking midfielders to work in the pocket between the centre back and the fullback, um, the halfback and the fullback, if you like. So that will work for us. We're hoping that they'll run through the channels here and find pockets of space in between these. Almost tempted to go a little narrower, to be honest, because that would give our chance for our wing backs to bomb through. But we'll leave it balanced for now, and we'll watch the first game and see how that looks. Where the defence is concerned, we want our defensive line to be normal. We want them to. We're happy with them going forward and back. We've got quick enough players that we can rely on them to get back, so we don't need to sit deeper. We're looking to control this game, so us being up is fine. Closing down is something that Mr. Klopp is a firm advocate of, as was Mr. Rogers before him. So I think we'll set closing down to more. I like to have much more, but as it says, does mess with the team shape, and you can end up being exposed. So we'll go with more for the moment. I think that will be fine. We'll keep an eye on that in our first couple of games as well. Prevent short goalkeeper distribution. There's no harm in that when we're playing with a striker up the front, especially a big boy who's more than capable of pushing a player off the ball. We'll have that. We're closing down more. We'll have Benteke running at the keeper, trying to make him make mistakes that hopefully Coutinho, Firmino, Lallana will pick up on. Use tighter marking isn't something that I'll typically use in a attacking formation, so we'll skip that until our next formation probably. Get stuck in. I don't like you. You're tackling harder. You're more likely to injure players, but you're also more likely to. And injuring players is tough, but part of the game. It's not a part of the game I like, and I certainly don't like getting fouls or getting yellow cards or red cards, so I tend to stay away from that. Stay on feet is a good option if you're attacking, if you're playing against a team that are tricky with the ball. We'll leave that off for the moment. We'll keep an eye on these two and maybe set one of these depending on what we see in our first few games. With our build-up play, we don't want to use any of these particular methods to get the ball to the goal. We want to just have our team use the mixed approach to get the ball towards the goal. Retain possession, I am tempted to set. Might leave it off for the moment. The idea of this formation is to keep control of the ball, but I don't think we'll be too concerned about that just at present. When we come into the season proper, I may switch that on, because we do want to starve the other team of possession. So that's a good way to do it. Be more expressive or be more disciplined. We've already got a fluid team mentality, so we won't bother setting them as more expressive. We have got some great players who have great flair and great skill, who it would be nice to completely let run the show, but we also have some players who aren't quite as good at versatility, so at playing expressively, so we may leave both of these off. One thing we do want to do in attack, or one thing I often set, I should say, is that we work the ball in nice and close, and we, rather than forcing the issue, look to work it into the box. We work to walk it into the box, if you like. I won't do that this time because we've got attacking players who aren't close to the goal always. They'll usually be in the box, but not in the keeper's box. We'll let them work it the way they want to. We're doing mixed passing because we're going to be doing some crossing to Benteke, but we're doing some short passing to Firmino and to Lallana as well. So I think leaving our options open for the moment makes sense. I'm quite tempted to run at defence because we've got players who are good with the ball at their feet, particularly these three. So I will set that on. I don't always use that, but we'll keep an eye on that. If we see these guys losing the ball in tackles too regularly, then we'll turn this off. And freedom of movement, we've already again got that fluid team shape, so we won't bother about trying to enforce or unleash positional play. So we've gone right through the team instructions. Let's create a new tactic. Rather than clicking there, I'm going to copy this one by saying save, and then choosing it from the drop down here. And now we've got a copy of exactly the same formation, but we're going to make some tweaks. I'm going to add Lucas Leiva on here and replace one of our attackers, Jordan Sinclair in this case, with Benteke. Sorry, I replaced Sinclair with Chirivella because we're going to try and have a more defensive formation. This one we're going to do counter-attacking. It's not defensive proper, but it is more sitting back and waiting for chances to explode. We're going to set Lucas Leiva as the anchorman that he likes to be, and he'll work in a more defensive role. we'll set Joe Allen here in a supporting role. Tempted to set them both in a supporting role, but what we might do is actually set, when Emre Can is playing in this formation, he's going to play as a box-to-box midfielder, so he'll be expected to work more in the middle of the field than further back, as we had him when he was a defensive deep-lying playmaker. So he'll be expected to play anywhere from there to back here. Joe Allen will be expected to play from somewhere around here to somewhere around here. He's got a less expansive role than Emre Can. Lucas Leiva will be expected to work maybe from back here through to up here. But the rest of this I think we can keep the same. I like that core idea of having our wingbacks bomb forward and involve themselves in the attack. Again, we've got 3 defensive players, so Lucas Leiva hopefully will be able to do some cover either way. That's the only changes I want to make here, but we will need to change our... I'm going to put this back to flexible rather than being fluid. No, I'll leave it as fluid. I think between these 3 and Chan, they'll probably be okay being a little fluid in their formation. We will have a look at our instructions. We've already set it to counter. We've got the fluid team shape. In this case, because we're looking to counter-attack, we're going to want a higher... let's clear this lot. We'll set it to counter. We'll set it to fluid again. We're going to set our tempo to higher because we want to see the ball moved quickly up the pitch and our players up here do something with it. We're able to play a little wider this time because we've got more coverage in midfield. We don't mind if these guys get out wider to pick up the ball and bring it back in. As attacking playmakers, they're both set to run the ball infield rather than wingers who are set to run the ball out wide and then cross it in. So being slightly wider will work for us, I think, in this situation. We want these guys a little wider than they might otherwise be, and we'll hopefully get to see them on each side interplay with the fullback behind them. Our defensive line in a counter-attacking situation, we're going to want to be a little bit deeper so that we invite the other team onto us. Their defensive line will move further forward, so hopefully we'll end up with some one-on-one counter-attacking situations, hopefully 2-on-1, hopefully 3-on-1 situations where we've got our lads nice and high up the front and we knock a long ball up to them, they get to counter-attack quickly and hopefully score some goals. Prevent goalkeeper distribution we don't want because we haven't got a player who we can ask to do that the whole time. That will have Firmino, because we're sitting deeper, that will have Firmino running from there potentially up to there in every 30 seconds, and that will destroy his stamina, so we don't want to have that one on. Tighter marking, we could do that here. It's not terrifically important. Again, I'd save that for more defensive situations, for a more defensive type of tactic. And this is one that we may, in game, switch to being more defensive. And in that case, we may switch to using tighter marking. Again, we may choose to have the players get stuck in or stay on their feet. I think for this type of for a countering formation, it makes sense to stay on your feet because we don't want anyone lying down when we manage to get the ball back. We want to get the ball and we want to move it forward quickly with our high tempo. When we're building up play, I'm tempted to clear the ball to the flanks, but I'm also tempted to exploit the flanks. So we'll do both of these, or do we do none of them? We might keep an eye on this and reevaluate this after a couple of games, see how the players, how the ball plays out, how they naturally move the ball by themselves, who's more likely to pass it, who's more likely to end up with the ball, where the keeper's more likely to pass it. Some things that we can't refine too easily ourselves. We want, in this case, again to be mixed passing, but we definitely don't want to retain possession. We want to move the ball quickly, and retaining possession would run counter our idea of moving the ball at a higher tempo. Being more expressive, again, I think here I'm going to have that on. I think that's not a bad idea for the players that we've got. We're already playing in a fluid way. That's going to make us be very expressive. But I think that's not a bad idea. We'll start with that and we'll see how we go. With this attack, we're going to look to counter, but none of our front three are particularly quick. So I'm almost tempted to say shoot on sight. They're going to take quick shots and hopefully catch defenders and the keeper unaware, because we're moving the ball quickly. We'll keep an eye on that as well. If we're making too many long shots that could have been worked into the box, or could have just been they could have worked at ordinarily, then we'll switch this off, but we'll leave it on for the moment. Mixed crosses is fine. We'd like having a combination of drilled crosses, of floated crosses, and there's all different types of floated, whipped, and low crosses. Mixed crosses is fine for us. We haven't got any players that will be advantaged by a particular type of crossing, so we won't bother with that. Running at defense is not a bad idea. Again, with this formation, we'll run at the defense and then we'll look to take quick shots. And then with freedom of movement, we'll leave that as the default. So we've now got our two formations. We've got our wide attacking formation, which we need to change players around if we're going to use it. In fact, I'll do that now. He comes on for Chiravella, and he replaces Lucas. Well, this is the one we'll use for most of pre-season, because this is what I anticipate we'll be using through most of the season proper. In the Premier League, Liverpool are arguably a better team than the majority, so we should be able to expect to use this formation more regularly. What we can see, though, is that we're awkward in almost all of these areas. If we scroll over there, we can see that we're 9 of a potential 100 in the comfort that we have with our closing down settings for this formation. We're not great with our mentality. We're okay with the formation, and we're quite happy with the width, but we're going to need to do a lot of work in pre-season before we hit the season proper. So I'm going to save this now. We've set up our two formations. We'll cut this one off here, and when we come back, we'll look to set up the team in the we'll set up our training in a way that will allow us to quickly learn these formations. So hopefully we'll see you again soon.